Ah, my friend. You return to me once again. Okay, game development. In game development, you always spend the highest amount of money on the very first part of the game. Why? Because 100% of your players are guaranteed to see the very first part of the game. Less than 5% of your players are going to see the end of the game. In the case of this game, it's probably more like less than 0.5% of your players are going to see the end of it. And that's why the least money tends to get spent towards the end of it. We find ourselves today in the game's big, wide middle section. Our hero, the Avatar, is going to infiltrate a cult of air wizards. I believe they call themselves Thurgists. He needs to do this in order to gain the power, rather to steal the power of their god, the Titan of Air. He needs to gain their trust, and then ultimately he needs to break it. This is sort of what's going on in the broader plot of Ultima VIII. At the very beginning of this game, we met, briefly, a man named Torwin, a jeweler who had spoken out against the tyranny of the state, and as a result, got his fucking head cut off by the tyrannical state. Lady Mordea and all of them, who at this point we've already defeated. Torwin had a wife, Rian. She runs the jewelry shop now. And together they had a son named Torwin. Now Torwin went off to join the Air Wizards for some mysterious purpose. We're going to find out how his story ends by the end of this video. I hope that you'll join me, but I understand if you won't, because this shit's long, and frankly it's not even that interesting. I don't know what to tell you. This is a journal log. I suspect this might be a good video to fall asleep to, if that's what you're into. That's what I'll be doing anyway. Let's hit it. We're going to make the run through the catacombs to Argent Rock Isle, starting from our waypoint here in the upper catacombs. I don't quite know the way, but I think we'll get there. I'm certain that they planned to have a interconnected, world map where you could sort of walk all across the isle, maybe sail around the edges of the isle, do something really cool like that. But they just didn't quite have the resources to obtain that. And the way that you do transit between the different parts of the island is instead by going through this, underground cave, of course, because, fucking, everything is just through one of these miserable underground caves, right? We have to go into the lower catacombs. Sorry, we go into upper catacombs 2. Mountains beyond mountains. And in here, we can consult. This is an old map from an old game guide. I can show it to you here. We're up here, right? The entrance. We want to go to Argent Rock Isle. That's number 6 there. This is how you get from one side of the island to the other through this kind of underground place that doesn't really give you that much of a color journey or the sort of things you would include in a modern AAA video game or movie or something for an epic, a journey. Dark Souls is a game that remarkably managed to achieve these sort of wonderful interconnected spaces, right? Being able to see Anor Londo from below it, or being able to see the Undead Parish from above it. These kinds of experiences. This camera angle doesn't really permit anything like that. So, as usual, one way to look at all of this is, well, Ultima VIII completely failed or whatever, and Dark Souls succeeded. But another way to look at it is well, Dark Souls put in a monumental and I think even the director said sort of ill-fated effort to provide that interconnectedness. It just costs too much for whatever prestige or whatever it's going to bring you. It costs too much, and this team didn't achieve it. Most teams never do, right? This team compromised, and they gave us this kind of winding path through the belly, I guess. So this Pagan is a big mountain with settlements dotting the edges of it. An island, right? A volcano island. This, I think, is Argent Rock Isle. Now that we have our Key of the Scion, we can open all these doors and we can start going to the different religious places. They support all of the different titans that have temporarily supplanted, you know, the Zealand gods, the 3 emotions. Okay, I learned on the wiki, the Zealand gods are based on 3 emotions, right? Neutrality or like apathy, love, and then hate. Hate instead of courage. So it's an interesting corruption slash spin slash interpretation of Richard Garriott's 3 principles from the old Ultima games. It's like a different version of that. Okay, this is the new weapon we have. Tamash Gore, ghost warrior guy, who seems to be on all the statues but was pretty weak in the end. We're using his weapon, and it seems like it's pretty good. Here, we'll feed these things to the local lurker. I need to drop some items off. Come on. Oh god, these things are too much for me. Okay, waypoint. Good. I'm gonna go drop some items off. Ah! Ah! Just take me to... Oh my god, they're gonna... I hate these flies. Ah, get away! Damn it! Ah, bag confusion. Central Tenebrae. Jesus Christ. Okay. So we activated the waypoint at Argent Rock Isle by doing this run through the dungeon, which means we can just go back to where we were. That community has like wind magic, and they're like the wind god. Okay, let's get a feel for the air people. We're asking this guy about Stratos, the greatest of the titans, worthy of the respect and admiration of all. My name's Avatar, he says. Well met, Avatar. And then we're going to keep talking about the Titan. You know, they're very imperious. They think they're very enlightened. Mystic voice of Stratos. Alright, so I'm like, I want to join your cult. Because we're trying to steal the power of each Titan, these Blackrock pieces. We're trying to get them all, kind of stealthily. The game's all about stealing power, right? It's devolved into that. So we gotta do some tests if we want to be an air cult person. Test of wisdom, test of centeredness. Oh, he's just gonna ask us a little knowledge test. So they're called Thurgists. We gotta answer all the questions. The second to ask for enlightenment, I wonder who the first was. Oh, Torwin. I think we learned about Torwin from his mom, one of the few NPCs in the world. She's sort of north of Tenebrae, farm person. So we'll do that knowledge test in a bit. I really like the houses here. They have a kind of elegance to them. Once again, look at these curtains. Like, it would be so uncomfortable and cold here at night, but we don't really have that problem in the world of Ultima. So we can do this creative wall design in there. It's a bit like Doom in that it has this kind of unique and distinctive vernacular of like objects that you can use. Look at this place. Double decker with them railings. This person likes them some fish. They have a clock. Look what time. We can tell what time it is. It's first ebb. This is like the same icon they use for open ground, but here it doesn't open holes in the catacombs, it just seals letters. Oh, these are air spells. Yeah, you can like do invisibility and stuff with the air magic. Impulse check under everything, even though there's not going to be anything worth stealing. Oh shit, but wait! They rewarded my impulse for theft. Big jump. This is a big jump spell. Vassar Pour. And you probably do a really big jump, right? So once again, we're sort of going through and snooping. We've learned to snoop. We're using duplicity all over the place, right? Oh, here's another person. Look at his cool robe. He looks like a game master from Ultima Online. Oh, this is a person maybe who first made the deal with the Titan. Let me join the order. Let me join the order. Yeah, okay. So that other person's gonna do the order joining stuff. This guy is just here to be like, you know, the wizard who founded this. He's still alive. That's kind of interesting. Stelos, a sort of famous character. You can just sleep outdoors here, you know? Like, wow.
It seems, Avatar, that you are missed here. Why, I believe I hear Lord British crying out for you now.
Lord British is an inept guy. He just, you know, we need help, we need help, we need help. That's all you ever hear. Okay, so the air people, they're like a Red Cross type thing. The air meditate, they meditate. The air people like to meditate. Breathe that sweet air, gift of Stratos, glory of Stratos. Be unassuming, these are, you know, the unassuming type people. Honesty, oh, interesting. Just like in Britannia, I believe, the honesty-oriented people are like healers. We read in all these books. We haven't gained a point of intelligence. If you read enough books, you'll eventually gain points of intelligence. We've been doing enough fighting and running that instead of 15s, we got 18 strength, we got 20 dex. And I think that's probably doing things like raising our carry limit, shit like that. This is telling us that there's a sword called Protector in the catacombs beneath the monastery. Supposedly the Titan of Air created this when a person was defending her newborn child from an attack by trolls. What a crappy dystopic world these people live in, you know? But we need to pass Torwin's test in order to gain the trust and eventually betray the would-be god of air, the same one that old man Stelos befriended. Way back. I think it was 200 years ago or something like that. Stelos is fucking old. This one trips me up. What would these air people prefer? A beach by the sea? I mean, isn't that what they do? Probably. What porch? Or like campfire? Oh, I didn't answer. Oh, that's not good. We were able to pass the test of knowledge by just repeatedly taking it until that question about the beach didn't come up. And we only got easy ones, and on my third attempt, I think I was able to get through it. You know, it's about like learning to drive a car, I guess. If you were really particularly obstinate and didn't want to learn anything about cars, you could get a license that way. Oh, who's this? I thought we were just talking to Torwin, man. Torwin's kind of a fucking asshole, isn't he? Exterior staircase leading to the top level. Very cool and strange. And it's all barren up here. I love the double roof concept, but they probably just didn't really have time to make something come of that. After you answer, like, the dude's 5 questions or whatever, he gives you the one other test that is required in order to join. The Thurgists are like the most tragic of all of the open world tragic elements of Pagan Ultima VIII because it's just the least developed part of Pagan Ultima VIII. The thing that they make you do in order to join their hallowed ranks involves just standing on this platform while wind blows at you. And it's actually pretty hard to not get knocked off and killed. We'll try to do it here a couple of times. But it's just like, yeah, go to Windy Point and stand on that spot and we'll do a little physics simulation on you. And if you don't get killed, then you can join our cult. This aspect, it's like hard to construct any kind of more sophisticated view, right? It just kind of seems like they needed to make like this many different kinds of elements and they didn't quite have enough time to make something different. So, oh, yeah, you get pushed. One side, another side. It changes directions. And you have tank controls. You turn slow, so you can't just run. Oof. First try. Just like that asshole we were talking to a minute ago, right? Yay! Jump. Celebratory jump. So that's what you gotta do to join the weird cult. I'm glad that I didn't have to spend like a half hour on that fucking rock. Windy Point, they call it. It kind of just seems like a fraternity initiation. And I suppose in a way that's what it is. Just in society, the fraternity gives you weird social connection powers, but in Ultima, it gives you like wind magic. Let's go and find whoever that guy is. I thought his name was Torwin, but apparently I'm mistaken. We need to get inducted into his mystical order. But who's this? What are you called? Avatar has a really distinctive Renfair voice. This is clearly a cult. Delos just gave this person like a cool name. Oh, this is the guy from the farm. We spoke with this person's, I think, mother back when we were going to visit the old wizard Mithrin on a farm north of Tenebrae. One of the few characters in the whole game. Named characters, I mean. There's plenty of skeletal characters walking around, and they're fun. Oh, let's hear about Jenna, the person you just said you don't want to talk about. Let me probe. Let's just ruin his day. Yeah, your friend Bentic, he's fucking dead. Well, bye. So we told him his friend was dead, and that's pretty much all we're gonna get out of Cirrus. I love the way these books appear. Very, ooh, just nice pixels for sure. This is a book about a magic weapon called Bone Crusher that was carried away by some skeletons. We don't need Bone Crusher. I mean, we have Slayer, we have Deceiver. The magic items are more just fun to collect than they are any kind of useful sort of contrivance. Combat in this game, remember, is optional. It's like a survival horror game more than anything. But we need to find that man in blue who walk around and philosophize all day. We once found him in here, but he is not in here. More moody soundtrack. I really appreciate the soundtrack choices that they make in this game. Xavier, here's the guy. I passed your test. I love the font. Look at this text. It's gorgeous, isn't it? I know where Stelos is, man. Oh, okay, but he says go to Windy Point. Talk to him there. Alright. So we gotta keep joining this cult. But they didn't really have, tragically, enough time to create something more flavorful here. It's a bit of a thin stew here, in my opinion. Don't come for me. We're redirected to the one other landmark that has been sort of created. Maybe Stelos will be found, you know, somewhere up here. The Guardian says, hey, there's something of interest here. Cackle, cackle, cackle. But maybe we should just check around town for this old guy. The character mentioned to us, I think, that at this hour he was known to be up west on that Windy Point place. But I doubt the script would really be that responsive to time of day. It's the kind of thing that they wouldn't have had time to fully realize. I'm sort of going to move away from looting every single house that we encounter now that we've left Tenebrae, the kind of most lootable place. Oh. Oh. No. He's been around for 200 years. Where is he, though? Man, it must really suck here on Argent Rock Isle that there are just people hanging around reflecting on the fact that they don't even want you to talk to them because it'll make them homesick and miserable. Maybe these people deserve magic recall items rather than me, the big important avatar. I wanted to check this path. Sometimes you find people, I don't know, kind of out here. Not this time. Ah! We found him. Yes, I know, he says. Cult guy trying to appear very knowledgeable. Ah, Korik. Korik, the centrist over in Tenebrae. We need him to shape up some silver for us.
Is there someone actually called the centrist?
No, it's Korik. His name's Korik. He's a blacksmith.
The centrist.
No, but he talks about how, like, I do an honest day's work for an honest day's pay, and I'm really happy with my situation, and I think that Lady Mordea is, like, pretty good, and, the other day there was a criminal in the street, and I beat him up.
Oh.
There's a whole thing about it.
I see.
Episode 1 of my Let's Something series.
I'll check it out.
It's almost watchable. Right? It's almost watchable. I don't quite know where this silver mine is.
At this very moment, Britannia burns.
Britannia burns. It's pretty bold giving the entirety of Britannia an off-screen death. That's the kind of strain that this company was under, I enjoy exploring these sort of side space areas. Somebody had to compose this, and that's interesting to me. A pile of clothing. Of course, skeletons. Where would we be without skeletons? We might as well loot some diamonds. This thing likely wants to fight me. Oh boy. We've fallen for it. We finally found it. Killer Jokes by Trickster. Once you start reading a book, you can't start walking. And this book says... Chapter 1, Exploding Books, haha. And then the fucking book explodes. I am well armored now, thanks to my various adventures. I can probably just use this bedroll that has been sort of blown off to one side and just rest and recover all of my health. It was a pretty funny joke. I'm glad that I got to document it. Yeah, there are books. That Killer Jokes book is scattered throughout this game, Ultima VIII. It's another form of, like, sort of funny trap. In a lot of ways, I think we can read it as consistent with some of the design ethos, like, in Doom. We're talking about, those, like, Doom 2 levels, like tricks and traps, stuff like that. Maybe the mine, I might be completely mistaken. Maybe it's not even here on Argent Rock Isle at all. Maybe it's just one of those, like, horrible things you have to access through the caverns. Okay, here's something that I can show you. I remember this walkthrough from decades ago. How to Be a Complete Bastard in Pagan, it's called. This is from the old growth internet, like the best site in the universe by Maddox era of internet. You can see here the first edition was from 1996. Fucking October of 96. I would have been 8 years old at the time. But then look at this stuff. Like, it was revised in the year 2000, 4 years later, and then 13 years after that, in 2013, something about the test of centeredness, which we just took. Right, with the test of centeredness, it's possible to cheat by putting the avatar to sleep by drinking a blue potion, causing him to slide gently back and forth. This person decided, just on a whim, I guess, in the year 2013, to return to his, that would have been a nearly 20-year-old webpage at that point. And in 2017, it was revised again. Something about barons, foci. So we're trying to do foci right now anyway, right? So let's see what they have to say about that. So we'll be able to use some of our air magic to steal Baron's shit. But we gotta get the air magic first. This document is, besides, you know, purporting to, it is both a rough solution to Pagan, but it also does a lot of bugs and loopholes on purpose and aspires to commit as many foul deeds as possible. It is not intended for the beginner. It requires a fairly detailed knowledge of Pagan. You should sort of know what you're doing. It recommends running a patched version of Pagan. Then it gives you some performative guidelines for just how to play the game in the spirit. This thing is like a template. Today we'd recognize it as a sort of speedrunning category, right? But a little bit more performance art than speedrunning tends to be. Because it's not just about, like, do all these objectives really, really fast. Although it is about using bugs and loopholes to subvert intended sequence. It's more about just playing it like a bastard, like using the facility the game gives to you to express a character from the 1996 internet. In some ways, this thing is like a weird time capsule. So it gives you like these 4 pillars of design for being a bastard in Pagan Ultima VIII. Move people's stuff around. Do this in safe zones, or a baron will kill you. You know, you can't do it when people are looking. Throw darts at people. That's funny. Haven't tried that one. There's a lot of insulting conversation options. That's true. It just says use all of those. It says don't attempt to mug people, because that'll get you killed. Oh, but you can earn dexterity and strength by attacking your friend Devon, who is immortal. So there's a little pointer for how to play this game as a bastard. The bad solution, it presents, you know, a walkthrough, a series of steps. Lethos we've already done. Stratos we're doing now. At this point it just says, hey, answer the questions correctly. I'm not going to tell you the answers. I'm assuming you're an expert. Just get them right. Use those blue potions to cheat at the test of centeredness. Oh, I have to go to the monastery. Okay. It recommends annoying everybody by leaving the mine door unlocked and throwing the key to the lurker. Something that we can't actually do, having already put it on our key ring. But thank you, whomever this person is, Doug the Eagle, for giving us these recommendations on, like, you know, a way that we sort of could play Pagan Ultima VIII. That old internet stuff is great, frankly. You wouldn't really experience... I mean, I guess, you know, today what you would see it, you see it in a different form, right? Because people have to monetize their personality more today. It'd be like this game's writer or this streamer like acted like a complete asshole in Fortnite. It's kind of like a very similar spirit. But the one we see here is more participatory. It sort of invites you to get in on the... It's like a little map, like you could for how you could play along at home. In some ways, the streamers don't want you to play along at home unless you're like, you know, watching them at the same time. This looks like a way down. Whoa! Avatar, get the fuck down there, buddy. Oh. We're trying to get out of Pagan together, remember, buddy? If you die, we'll just load the saved game. You don't need to be afraid. Whoa. I only got him to do the sway thing once. I wonder why that is. Oh. Oh! You had to put the mouse at a really, really specific distance from the avatar. And now we're in the catacombs again, but this is a different catacomb. This is the catacombs beneath Argent Rock. So, you know, same, but different. That's what you do when you have, like, not quite enough production to spread around, right? So the key that we received opened this door, indicating that this is the central direction of interest for our collecting, our fetching of silver. We're definitely just doing fetch quests here, but we must concede that the way items work, there's an intrinsic funness to the inventory and the manipulation of objects in this world that to me makes it kind of intrinsically more interesting to go and grab some of these silver things. I'm sort of looking forward to seeing whatever bizarre environment design the teams come up with here. I wonder if you simply get stuck on this island and die, because to me it does not seem there's any way off. And if you know, you see how there's no... I can't jump onto there. Well... That's why we saved the video game. I have found a corpse, and on the corpse was a backpack, and in the backpack was a child's doll, surrounded by 3 books of all different colors. One of the books turned out to be Killer Jokes, and it exploded and damaged me. I predict that the other 2 will also be Killer Jokes, but I intend to have the last laugh by using wood and dirt to create a stone skin, rock flesh spell. So now, if they are Killer Jokes, doesn't affect me. One more. Yep. 3 in a row. All Killer Jokes. The game's idea of like a triple funny joke, right? Very Doom 2 design ethos. I want to say that it's, I'm gonna fucking look it up. The designer that I had in mind was Sandy Peterson, working on them Doom levels back in the day. Similar time period as this. It might even have actually been a bit later than this. Because this game was a 94 release, March of 94, right? And then Doom was released also in that same year, but October of 94. So the 2 of them would have been, like, these are all designed contemporaries. These people putting the 3 trap books in here, going, ha ha ha. That's, one way to look at that is, oh, terrible open world game design, so unfair, so tacky. Even Fallout wouldn't resort to something that tacky. And another way to look at it is, well, this is exactly what they they did in Doom and like every other game at that time. Obviously, that's the viewpoint that I tend to favor. Is there a way into this house? Let's try our magical scroll opener thing. Oh, well, there you go. Thanks, Mithrin. Oh, look at that. There's another cool sword. What's up with this one? This one gives you a lot of armor, I guess. Alright. Let's try out Old Protector for a while. It's really important to note the way this game is not giving you the open world, like, heroin drip, you know? It's giving you these weird little designed encounters, odd little figments and fragments of somebody's work, working within the design vernacular of their project, often to try to tell you what I would call a joke. Now, people get mad at me because I call everything a joke. I define a joke as being almost anything in the context of, like, a narrative. But, you know, they're trying to present some situation that interests you or points out something unexpected about the game mechanics or the way this all is. In the case of those books, it's almost like you could look at it, it's very Monty Python, right? The joke that's happening is kind of like, okay, I clicked on one and it was killer jokes, and probably the other two are also gonna be, but if I want to find out, I have to, like, get exploded 2 more times. And there's, I think, a thinking in the modern gamer's head that you would want to get rewarded for having completed that flow. You want a little Korok to show up and give you a golden poop. And hey, yeah, that would probably be a good feature to have in this game too. But we're coming towards all of this from a much more, I don't know, raw and edgy or some shit like that design sensibility, where you don't just get a reward. Reward is just not what's happening here. Do you know what I mean? Oh, silver ore. What's happening here is joke. The joke is meant to be like reward unto itself. And the game's granting of things to you, the reward schedule for things like items, armor, weapons, or any kind of progress isn't really tied in any meaningful way to the receiving of the game's little sight gags, jokes, level design fragments, or, like, you know, interesting situations with which it confronts us sort of over and over again. That's, you know, people talk about video games as being a series of interesting decisions. The decidey people, you know, some people think that games are all about deciding, and other people don't. This game's really not a deciding game. It's not about a series of interesting decisions. It's more about a series of, I don't know, like a series of interesting flesh feelings or something. Like, you put yourself into this, like, body, and the world of Pagan becomes a kind of hyper-reality for you. And you get to experience it in all of these different fucked up ways, like falling into the water and drowning, and having it play that that piercing death score that it plays over and over again. I mean, that's an experience that you can have, and that's what the game is, like, trying to present to you. It's not about choosing exactly. In some ways, it's flavorful when it's your choice that results in the death happening. And I think certainly in the case of, like, running into the water and dying, one viewpoint towards that is you can be all gamery and talk about, oh, the controls sucked and I wasn't able to, like, do it, like, fuck this. And then the other perspective is to be like, it's kind of like co-op or something, and of course the controls are kind of crummy, and isn't it funny that you ran into the water and died? I again just want to point out for you the exceptional quality of the paratexts that you can find on the internet about this video game. Let me just make it real big for you so that you can like see it, right? So we're going through this miserable catacomb. We're trying to get up to 8 pieces of silver ore, and that's the traditional flow. But check this part out. This is just one of the walkthroughs you can find. There are like 7 walkthroughs available online, and all of them are incomplete. And this one's incomplete here, and it says, hey, people have been telling me that there's silver ore in Western Tenebrae down near the water. Something that you can read about, actually, in what I consider to be the best Ultima VIII paratext. One that doesn't actually present a complete walkthrough at all. One that only the person only got a certain, like halfway into it. This is Dino's Guide to Ultima VIII Pagan. But this one has lots of great screenshots. I like the design of the website and stuff like that. Very old school, old growth internet type stuff. But if you check this out, and you look up silver ore, they find, here's a screenshot showing where you get the silver ore in Tenebrae. The very same silver that this complete walkthrough sort of makes reference to, but even in this supposedly authoritative game walkthrough, you still have to play a bit of Dark Souls and like piece the lore together from multiple different websites. And that's just a fun and strange. The smaller the game that you interact with in terms of its like audience reception or its monetization through the internet media apparatus, the more likely you are to encounter these wonderful moments of sort of confusion, just because people kind of gave up making their guide at different points in the process, and you end up with this like layered kind of paratextual thing going on that I really appreciate. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We gotta find one more. Or we could try to, you know what? Why don't we try to get the one in Western Tenebrae? That'll be fun. We're looking for the top of a house with a silver roof. A silver roof, you might say, if you come from somewhere like Calgary. My God, what house is this? This is at the very south of West Tenebrae, near a small house. Okay, south is down and left in the Ultima Online compass system. We've got a bunch more down and left that we can go to. We can go all the way down to this little house, which, can we even open? Oh. In honor of that, how to be a bastard, play Ultima VIII like a bastard game, let's just take one of these darts with us. Wouldn't you know it? 2 pieces of silver ore just washed up on the shore. Thanks, Dino. Okay, this is a guard. Now before you're gonna fuck with a virtual policeman, save your game. In real life you don't get to do that, but in this game you do. Here's a dart. Whoa, that thing really flew. I don't think I hit the guardsman. But it's just wedged in that roof now, and I guess that's a fun story. The Guardian appreciated my little gag, even if nobody else did. Okay, Korik. My dude. Show me to your smithy. Where is this fucking guy? People in Western Tenebrae love attaching houses to other houses. And frankly, I think that's really cool. You know, back when I used to play Ultima Online, I lobbied for them to create a basement layer to that game. So that, and maybe you could build tunnels connecting the player houses to each other. Of course, that would have been way too hard to implement, but I was really interested in letting people make their own kind of underground worlds, I guess, that players could traverse. If they'd had a little bit more money and attention and stuff, they probably would have made it towards that kind of thing, right? But they just didn't. They had a real good bell curve, but they didn't quite make it. It was like fucking, interlopers like Blizzard and like big capital kind of agents that would end up eating the majority of the boom that came from the like online virtual worlds concept. Let's get some foci made. Fair greeting, mate. Everything needs to be fair. Oh, okay. Between Bloodwatch and Daytide, gotta be at this guy's shop. That's the fucking tavern. Oh, I need to consult a map. This is one of the better maps of Tenebrae that you can sort of find. Okay, blacksmith. Southern End. Despite the amazing smallness of these environments, they're very much the same size of a town you'd find in like Ultima IV or something like that. The pinched-in camera has the tendency to make them large and imposing, and of course makes it rather difficult to kind of navigate around in them. This is the blacksmith shop. We need to sleep here. Ah, okay. What's up, Korik? Foci time, I guess. I definitely have those chunks of silver. What? What? What do you... What? It turns out that because I had too many items in my inventory, the search algorithm failed and Korik was like, you don't have any silver ore. Maybe it checked like the first 30 entries or whatever, the first 32. And was like, well, I didn't find any. Which is fucking incredible and strange to me. What we can do now is just finish making our foci. What I did was put my bag of bags just onto the ground so that my inventory became simpler. Each of these items he's making will need to be imbued with magic by the air wizards over in that other place that we were just in. But this time around, the kind of work that they make you do in order to obtain that power involves having this guy sort of meticulously prepare things for you. Let's see, I believe that I have now expended all my ores except for the 2 on the ground. Yes. And I will need only 1 more. I believe you need 8. So I've had him make 8 different ones. You can see them all. We'll just line them up. Each of these is a spell that if you're a fucking air wizard, you get to just like cast. It's kind of cool, right? Okay. New organization scheme for you. Because I know y'all love to hear about my inventory organizing exploits, or at least, that's probably not true at all, but I certainly love to talk about them, right? I have created this contingency bag of, extra reagency necromancy reagents that I don't need anymore. The weight of these, which I had previously been carrying, from 57 to 64, that's like 7 stone. That's quite a large number. So we've relieved ourselves of 7 stone weight. And we now have our more efficient necromancy set up. Everything from our reagent key, like our spell casting one, our door opening one, and then I've preserved 5 of each reagent. Enough for, a spell cast here or there, as well as our withstand death that we might never even need to use. I don't even remember But it's cool that that one person said you can only use it once, and so we're carrying our one usage around kind of with a bit of swagger, you know? Let's move it to our bag of, like, official cool items. 'Cause why not? With all of that shit sorted out, we've, like, lost enough weight to sort of resume our adventure. Okay, here is where we get our payoff for all of that annoying work with Korik. We take our foci and we put it on this altar of focus. And it gets magically enchanted. And now we can, like, heal shit. That's kind of interesting, right? Supposedly this here truth thing allows us to just force people to tell us what they really think. And I really wonder whether there's any programming in any of the dialogue trees to actually support that, or if it's only one particular case where you need it. So check this out. I'm supposed to be invisible. There I go! Yeah, look at that. Isn't that cute? I have all of the spells that I need now. I think I probably, the next thing up, maybe I can just return myself to sight real quick. One of the best things about the air magic is that it's very reusable. After you have constructed these foci, I believe that you just get to keep them. And you can just kind of use them as much as you like. Hey, Stellos. I've done it. Right, we return to the caverns. And presumably I have to use these things that I've created in order to complete my, you know, questing, right? That's the basic shape of this game. Okay, fun air magic things. First off, divination. You can just cast this in Wiz. It gives you a location where you currently are. The hour is 3 moons. The day is Black Day. The month is Stone Mark. And we've been at this for 17 days here in Pagan. All of that, and a lot of that information, like the month Stone Mark, you wouldn't get that from any other piece of lore in this game. I believe that using intervention, I can just make myself immune to damage. Okay, it seems like maybe it's not as effective as Stone Skin, although now that it's kicking in... Oh, these kith. Man, this sword we're using kinda sucks, doesn't it? But the intervention spell, although consuming quite a lot of my mana, did as promised, and made me immune to damage, so I don't really need necromancy anymore, is the point that I'm making. The air magic is just kind of better. It's just kind of better. Alright, here we have that fresh content. We gotta do what we think we should for that wounded thorax over there. So of course, as an air wizard, we're all about that healing. Oh, okay. Wounded thorax. Somehow made it into this cave. Let's use healing. Ooh, look at that animation. Isn't that nice? I'm glad that they put effort into that. Now they're just a healed thorax. Okay, so we've like done a bit of a magical quest thing here. We have healed the thorax. This cult is really all about, you know, being helpful and healing and stuff like that. Okay, so that was all we had to do here in the catacombs. But I don't think that there's a way for us to return. Let's try good old aerial servant. Literally didn't do anything. Alright, well, we're gonna use our classic way to get back to Argent Rock Isle. Just fucking flog the recall gem. And return to Master Stellos and tell him, look, we healed the cave thorax. Oh no, but now we have, like, something has happened, right? Very classic RPG story trope. You were just doing boring tests, but now, like, something has occurred. Somebody has stolen Brother Xavier's focus of healing. We have spoken with Xavier, and he says, I don't know who took my focus of healing. But reminds us that he plans to use this, like, special magic that the air people have, the Hear Truth focus, in order to find out the truth of who took it, which of course signals to us that we need to do the thing he's planning to do. He would not deign to rob us of video game content by solving these problems by himself. Frankly, it's obvious who took the fucking focus. It's that one misfit guy who believes himself to be above everybody else. Like, we kinda know this, right? It's this asshole. There is one point in the game where you need to use the spell Hear Truth. You have to use it on Cyrus, great, wise, whatever. He's just a monk, right? He's a monk and he lives over in here. This is Cyrus. So, we use our spell. Wah wah, Anquas lore. And we can tell that he acting real shifty because we say, have you seen Torwin? He says, nope, but he means yes. Why are you covering up for him? He says, I'm not, but he tells you the whole story, of course. You say, where is he? And he says, he's at Windy Point. So we gotta go to Windy Point, and we have to confront the guy who stole the healing focus. This is just like part of our little drama to get into the Wind People cult. I wonder what the Avatar thinks about this internally. Is he thinking something like, boy, I'm really sick of this bullshit, but nonetheless, off he goes. Torwin! Here we have a fun cutscene. I mean, the writing is quite utilitarian, isn't it? So the tragedy here is that he's trying to resurrect his father. The gem person who died, the gem cutter who was killed at the beginning of the game. I did see as his head was severed from his body, indeed. So this person has been trying to learn air magic in order to resurrect his dead father. Oh, from the pit of death. Oh, I see, right. Oh. Classic Ultima VIII moment. So, here's the focus, and then here's Torwin's ring. You know, maybe that was for his mama or something, but I guess we can't even wear it. We'll see if there's somebody we can return it to, maybe. I know the jeweler, Rian, now her son is dead in addition to her husband. So that's, cool, I guess. We need to return this focus to our boy, Xavier. Xavier, my dude. I found your focus, also your friend is dead. Alright, so he's appeased. Now we gotta go back to fucking Stellos, probably. Poor Torwin. Ah, now I'm ready to pass the final test. The leap of faith, I believe. How do I take this test? Ooh. Right, in order to hear the mystic voice, I need to take that same leap that Torwin took, I think. I suppose we can live here in Torwin's house now that he's kind of offed himself in this rather shameful manner. A fool's quest to avenge his father's murder. Over there, at the far corner, we can see some kind of platform. But the character mentions to us there's nothing we can do to prepare ourselves. We just have to leap. Wow! Hey! And off we go. So now we play a bit of Super Avatar Brothers. And now we meet... Ah! The God of Air. Whoa! An excellent line read.
Please, Mom, come closer. Who am I? Ah, such a dear child, so very young in his knowledge. Why, he's no more than a babe.
I love these particle swirls. This is a great looking god.
To reach me took a great deal of courage. I wish to reward you.
Look at this part of the screen, it says. You got that nice bird. Do a little airwalk.
I am the breeze which cools your cheek on a warm day. I am the raging wind which drives the waves before it. I am the fuel which feeds the tongues of flame to heat your supper. And the teeth that
Accessibility
bind you
note,
to
like,
adore.
because they had the cool voice acting, I guess they found it not necessary to put the text on the screen. So I suppose if you were not able to hear them, this would be the one part of the game where you don't get to hear anything that's being said. We're gonna have to steal that breath of wind. Clearly. I mean, you know, obviously. What? Xavier didn't even take his damn focus back, man. Give me a break. Ugh. Oh, he took mine. Okay, fine. But hey, now we can cast Airwalk, and we've spoken with a god. Those two things are kind of exciting. Perhaps we need to grill old Stellos now for information about how... Oh, don't go that way. About how we're going to steal this focus. We need to know where it's kept. The final part of this Air People quest is optional. It involves returning Torwin's ring to Rian the Weaver. I'm sorry, but your son won't be back. Let's say he committed suicide. He was trying to resurrect his father. Now they're both lost to her. And, you know, you don't get any sort of payoff for this. We're just kind of tying up loose ends. It really is, like, as far as Ultimas go, this one is quite the downer, right? You don't really leave the world better than you found it. In fact, you sort of strip it all for parts. These characters' lives kind of get broken in a way that the game doesn't take any particular effort trying to repair. We'll just leave this ring here outside of the jewelry store for whenever Rian gets back to it there. Welcome back to the land of the not bored and sleeping. In Torwin's death, we can see a microcosm of all of Pagan Ultima VIII's different wild aesthetics. We can see the utter briefness of it. Just like it happens in less than a second. It's and that's the whole thing. That's the end of his fucking life. The gravity in this game is realistic in terms of how quickly people accelerate. And so it's a bit like watching, I don't know, a pixelized version of a snuff film. Like if this were Lord of the Rings, that's a slow motion fall, right? He just goes like, ah, and there's like a couple of camera cuts. You do the Indiana Jones thing, so like he's falling for 27 times longer than it would actually take somebody to fall that distance. We cut back to the Avatar looking concerned, and then we cut back to Torwin gazing upwards, maybe. It's really dramatic. There's some sad music. None of that shit happens here in Pagan Ultima VIII. What is the fate of Toran and Rian's son? Well, that's about it. He fails to join the Thurgists. We learn that tragically he was hoping to gain the power to resurrect his father. He wanted the sort of power that we ourselves as the Avatars seek. The power over life and death, the power over the cruelty of this place, Pagan. The power over the Guardian. What Richard Garriott sought more than anything, and which, like Torwin, he sort of never finds. You know, guys like Richard Garriott, those guys are the winners of society. People always talk about the brilliant genius moves that they did, the special touches that they put on their projects, the ones that commercially succeeded. And we tell ourselves that's the reason why those projects succeeded. Now, the people working for Garriott at the time of this game, those people are the losers of society. We like to invent reasons why they just weren't good enough. Why Ultima VIII wasn't as magical as its predecessor. Oh, well, maybe it has something to do with these, like, greedy game developers who wanted profits and they weren't trying very hard. It's all kayfabe. It's all a showdown. Again, designated